this tutorial, we are going to create a stunning, realistic environment from scratch with every step explained in detail. If you are ready to take your Blender 3D skills to the next level, this video is for you. As you've already seen in today's video, we'll be creating amazing scene. This is a step-by-step guided tutorial. After watching this video, even if you don't know how to model, you will still be able to easily create environments and concept art in Blender. So without wasting any time, let's get started. First open Blender 3D, select the default cube, camera and light and delete them. Then add a plane. After that, go to Blender Kit and search for a human male body and simply download a 3D model. This will give you a good idea of the scale for the rest of the scene. As you can see, we now have a human in the scene, which helps us how large the rest of the scene should be. So we'll set the size accordingly. We'll first block out the environment that we want in Blender. Blocking out the scene makes it easier to kit bash the remaining 3D assets later. So let's start by adding a cube. Scale it up along the z-axis like a pillar, then move it slightly backward on the ground plane. Now go to the modifier section, search for the mirror modifier and apply it to the cube. In the mirror object target, choose the human body model. As you can see, your cube pillar will now be mirrored on both sides of the human body. When you move one, the other will move along with it. You can adjust the spacing between them by moving them apart as much as you like. Now duplicate this pillar and move the duplicates slightly forward. Increase the distance between these new pillars compared to the previous ones. Then duplicate again, move them forward and place them accordingly. After that, duplicate the back pillars, that ones with smaller spacing, and bring them to the front. Now if you are feeling confused, let me clarify. The pillar at the very back will serve as the back door pillars. The four pillars in the middle, spaced a bit wider, are the main hall pillars, and the ones in the front are the entry door cave pillars. By blocking out the scene this way, your work becomes much easier. You can block out any scene before adding detailed assets. After blocking out the scene, head over to the Megascan website and download this 3D model called Castle Stairs. Then import it into Blender. After importing, move it to the back near the back pillars and place it between them. For now, move it slightly forward. Now go to the modifier section and apply the array modifier. As you can see, when you apply the array modifier, it duplicates the object sideways, but we want it to go upward. Simply change the array modifier's axis value and adjust the offset slightly to achieve the design we want. The more you increase the count value in the array modifier, the more the stairs will extend upward and backward. Adjust the count based on how many stairs you want and position them between the pillars. Next, go back to the Megascan and download the 3D model called Japanese Shrine Stone Floor and import it into Blender. After importing, move it near the stairs, scale it to match their size and place it on top of them. Now duplicate the original stairs and place the duplicated ones where the top of the previous stairs end, creating more stairs going up. I think we should change the pillar design, so I'll shrink the cube pillars and place them where the first set of stairs ends and the floor begins. Then I'll duplicate and enlarge the pillars, placing them where the back stairs begin. Now the design looks perfect and we have a solid base for the scene. Let's quickly kit bash the rest of the scene. Head back to Megascan and download the 3D model called Roman colon. Import it into Blender and replace the small cube pillars on the side of the first stairs with these Roman columns. Duplicate the Roman colon and place it on the other side of the stairs as well. It's looking good. Now we should block out some background elements. For this, you need to add a plane. Move it back near the back cube pillars. Duplicate it on both sides and place them in the back like this. Then add another plane on top of both pillars like this. Now add a cube and place it on top of the large back cube pillars. We are doing this so that later we won't spend too much time thinking about the design. By placing assets in the blockout area, we can easily build our scene. Next, you can either add another plane or duplicate the previous one, then place it on both sides of the pillars like this. Place it on one side and mirror it to the other side. After that, head back to the Megascans and download the 3D model named Modular Building Pillar Kit. Import it into Blender. After importing, it may appear in a somewhat distorted shape. Don't worry, it will be divided into parts, as you just need to move the parts to fit them together. After that, select all three parts and press Ctrl+J on your keyboard to join them. Next, to move this pillar near the back cube pillars, scale it up to match their size and place it like this instead of the cube pillars. Now you can delete the cube pillars. Select this pillar and use the mirror modifier to mirror it to the other side of the stairs in the same position. As you can see, both pillars look great in the background. Next, we need to add a camera to the scene. Let's add the camera. Split the Blender window into two tabs. We will work in one tab and view our final output in the other tab. In the second tab, hover the mouse cursor and simply press 0 on the keyboard to enter the camera view mode. Now, while in camera view mode, use the first tab to move the camera back until the entire scene is visible in front of the camera. Then go to the camera properties where you will find an option for pass part out. Set its value to 1. This will hide any unnecessary area in the camera view tab, so only what's inside the camera frame will be visible. As you can see, this will help you see the scene clearly and keep your focus on the camera framing, making it easier to fill the scene. You can set the camera's focal length according to your preferences and apply a slight tilt rotation as I have shown, which will give a more cinematic look. Now let's add a cylinder. Enter edit mode. Delete both the top and bottom faces by selecting them. Then go to the top view and select half of the cylinder. After selecting half, simply press delete. Since we only need this half, it should look something like this. Now rotate it and position it above the camera like this. This will create our cave. Set the size according to your scene. Next, go to Megascan and download the 3D model named Modular Building Ground. This is also a pillar. When you import it into Blender, its size will be quite large, so scale it down. After that, you will get a nicely made pillar that will match with the other parts. Delete any separate parts you don't need. Replace the pillars in your hole with this new pillar, scaling it to match the size of the previous ones. You can use the mirror or duplicate function to place them on both sides of the scene. If the pillars look good when scaled up but not great, it's better to duplicate them and stack them on top of each other. After kit bashing them, let's head back to Megascans. Now download this 3D model called Decorative Pillar. Import it into Blender and place it in front of the cave on both sides like this. Basically, we have used 3 types of pillars in the scene, okay? Now go back to Megascans and download the 3D model named Historic Place Interior Door. Import it into Blender and position it near the back pillars. Place it between them like this. Delete the blockout cubes and place from this area. Adjust its size properly so it fits well between the two pillars. As you can see, it's look very nice. Also duplicate the back pillars and place one on top of the other. Now that our scene is quite filled, let's switch to rendered view mode and convert it to cycle. Next, go to the world properties. Here you will find an option for color. Click on it and set it to full black. This will remove any light present in your scene, making it completely dark as we wanted. Now add a spotlight. Position it at the back of the scene. Rotate it to one side and place it like this. Then go to the light properties and increase the light's power. You can set it between 50,000 to 1 million depending on your scene. Adjust according to the light intensity you prefer, whether you want a dark mode or a fully highlighted scene. Set the blend value of the light to full so that the light blends nicely in the scene. After that, you need to add a cylinder. Scale it up so that the entire lit area of the scene is inside it. It should look something like this. If you want to see the scene in the viewport, after adding the cylinder on it, simply go to its properties and under viewport display, set it to display as wire. Now you can see through it. Next, select the cylinder and go to the shader editor. Click on new to create a new material and you will see the principled BSDF node. Delete that. Instead, add a volume scatter node. Connect it to the volume of the material output. Set the density value to around 0.001 or 0.02. You can adjust it based on how much volumetric fog you want in the scene. Also increase anisotropy value to 0.8. This will give you a beautiful volumetric fog in your scene, as you can see. After adjusting some lighting, we'll improve the textures in the scene to make it look realistic. First, head to the Sketchweb website and download a 3D model of a snake. You will find 2 animated snake models there. Since both are pre-animated, you won't need to do any animation yourself. Simply download them and add whichever one you like to your scene. Make sure to scale it up significantly so that the giant snake is visible in the camera view, as you can see in my setup. Now you need to increase the light power because the scene won't look as good with low light power. Also, don't just use one light in the scene. You can use multiple lights. For instance, place one spotlight at the back, then duplicate it and position another spotlight above the snake. You can add another spotlight above the pillars as well. Wherever you feel light is necessary, simply add a light to highlight those areas. It's that easy. Now let's improve the textures in the scene because the current textures don't don't look good at all. And some areas we haven't applied any textures yet. First, let's create a realistic wet texture and apply it to the plain ground. Hide all other objects in the scene and only show the plain ground. After doing this, go to the Ambient CG website and download the texture named Asphalt 023. Once you've downloaded it, come back to the Blender. Select the plain ground and go to the Shader Editor tab. Click on New to add a principled BSDF nodes. Next, navigate to the folder in your file manager where you saved the downloaded texture. From there, drag and drop the following into the shader editor. Base color, roughness, normal. Connect the base color to the base color input of the principled BSDF node. Change the color space of the normal texture from sRGB to non-color. Then add a normal map node and connect it like this. Connect the normal map output to the normal input of the principled BSDF node. Now your texture should be nicely applied to the plain ground. As you can see, you don't need to connect the roughness node. Instead, set the roughness value directly to 0. You can see that your ground already looks wet, but we will improve it further. To do this, connect a color ramp node to the strength input of the normal map. Then connect a noise texture node to the color ramp. Adjust the arrows of the color ramp slightly back and forth. Set the detail value of the noise texture to 13 and adjust the scale value as per your preference. As you can see, the plain ground now has both water and concrete textures. You can also increase the roughness of the noise texture. All these values depend on you. As you reach this point and change the values, we'll see the results change nicely. Keep the value that gives you the best results. To set the resolution in tiling size, you can scale up the UVs. Now your wet concrete plain ground is ready. Next, let's move on the texture for our overall scene. As you can see, some pillars have a white texture while others have a black texture, and the door in the back has a wood type texture. We don't want any of these textures. We just need a good realistic texture for all of them. Having many different textures makes the scene look cartoonish and reduces the realism. So let's quickly create a nice realistic texture for all of these. I've hidden all other objects in the scene and left only the pillars visible. Now let's go to the shader editor, select their default material and delete it. Leave the principled BSDF node. Next, head over the Ambient CG website and download the texture named Tiles 089. Drag and drop following maps into the shader editor. Base color, roughness, normal map. Connect the base color to the base color input. Set the color space of the normal map to non-color and connect it to the normal map node. Then connect the normal map node to the normal input. Connect the roughness directly to the roughness input. Now go into edit mode for the pillars by pressing tab and then press U to unwrap them using cube projection. If the tiling size is incorrect, you can adjust the UV scale up or down in the UV editor. Now you can either apply this same texture to all objects, or if you want to improve it further with the grungy type or old pillar edges, we will need to enhance the textures a bit more. Let me show you how to do that. First, go back to the shader editor. Now add an ambient occlusion node and set its samples value to 3. I'll show you how to connect it directly. Also make sure to tick the inside option. Next, add a color ramp node and connect it in between. After that, flip the arrows of the color ramp, meaning move the white arrow to where the black arrow is and vice versa. Now you can see that white color appears on the edges of the mesh while the rest of the areas are black. This way we can create an edge wear effect on any mesh. You can set the distance value of the ambient occlusion according to how much edge wear effect you want and then adjust the strength using the color ramp. Next, add a mix color node and connect the base color node and the color ramp to it. Then connect the mix color node to the principled BSDF node. Change the mix mode to multiply and set the factor value to 1. Reduce the specular value in the principled BSDF to about 0.015. Select the black arrow in the color ramp and set its color to pure white. Then select the white arrow and set its value to 10. Now adjust the color ramp arrows and see how the results look. You can also add some noise for an even better effect. In between the color ramp and ambient occlusion, add another mix color node and connect it to the noise texture node. When you click on the noise texture, press Ctrl+T to automatically bring up the mapping nodes. Just to make sure the node's Wrangler add-on is installed. After that, add another color ramp node in front of the noise texture. Now you can play around with the values to create a nice noisy edgeware texture. Also remember to convert the mix color node to add. This way you can create edgeware on any mesh. Let's organize these nodes because more nodes will be added and it will make it easier for you to understand. background. Bring these three nodes to one side and press Ctrl plus J to join them into one group. This will be our main basic texture node group number 1. Now create another group for the upper edgeware nodes, which will be group number 2. So now we have these two groups. Let's improve the texture further. To do this, add another mix color node in front of the current mix color node. Connect them together like this. Then search on Google Chrome for any grungy texture and download it. Drag and drop it into the shader editor and connect it to the new mix color node. Then connect the mix color node to the principled BSDF. Now if you observe, both textures are visible but they are not blending well. To blend them properly, you need to add a noise texture node and then add a color ramp node. Connect it to the factor of mix color node. You can move the arrows a bit to see how both textures are visible together but not looking good, and they are stretching as well. Check the values of noise texture and adjust them according to your needs. Then press Ctrl plus T on the noise texture to add mapping nodes. Connect the object to the vector of the mapping node instead of generated coordinate to solve the stretching problem. If any texture appears too dark or bright, add an RGB curve node before that texture, and you can adjust the darkness or brightness by manipulating the midpoint. You can also change the mix color to see different results, such as from mix to multiply or overlay. And this will create our third group, which mixes the grungy texture. Now add one more mix color node. Connect the last mix color node to this new one. Then add another ambient occlusion and color ramp node and connect them together. Set the factor value of the mix color node to full 1. Reduce the sample of the ambient occlusion to 3. Play with the arrows of color ramp to see what changes are occurring in the result. Basically, all these will add overall texture noise and enhance the realism of the texture. If you don't understand any part clearly, or if you need to know how to set the values, you can pause the video here and copy the values from there. And let me remind you that your values may differ. It depends on the type of model you are using. Well, the realistic texture is ready now, so apply it to all models. Also, do not apply it to the snake. Additionally, apply this texture to the side wall of the background. Now let's add small details to the scene that will create more realism and depth. For the pattern details, you need to go to the Sketchfab website and download this ancient temple pillar. After downloading, import it into Blender. Delete the rest of the mesh except for the patterns on top. Leave those patterns and join them together since they are separate. Then place these patterns on top of the pillars that are at the back of your scene. They look very good. You can also duplicate them and place these patterns on the sides of the door. Well, now we'll create our cave and add details to it. For this, add a cube. Go to the modifier section and search for the remesh modifier and apply it. Set the adaptivity value to 0.2. Set the voxel size value to around 0.149. Now select the cube and enter edit mode. For the modifier effect to show in edit mode, click on this icon. Now simply duplicate the cube and start placing them together like this. Make some cubes larger in the z-axis and others smaller. Then duplicate and adjust their sizes and positions. This way you will create a design due to the modifier. All the cubes will appear to connect like clay due to the modifier. As you can see, you will need to create many different designs this way. Once you have a full design, duplicate it and bring it into edit mode to make some changes from the previous one. After creating 3 to 5 cave rocks, you need to duplicate them and start kit bashing them onto the cylinder cave structure. First, place the cave rocks facing downwards to create a unique design in front of the cave. Then duplicate the other cave rocks and place them around the cylinder structure on every side. Adjust their sizes and rotations. Your cave will be ready. I applied this texture, which you can get for free from Blender Kit by searching for cave. Make sure to apply this texture to all the rocks. You can also duplicate these cave rocks and place them on the sides, creating a nice impact in the dark areas of the scene. Now we need two things: one candles and two concrete panels. You can find both of these objects on Sketchfab. One is named concrete panels while the other is called the candles set. Also, the candles set is already animated, so we won't need to animate their flames. Download both of these, then import them into Blender. First, place the concrete panel inside the cave and put some candles on top, adjusting their sizes so they look different. Then place some candles on the underside of the concrete panel. In other words, have some candles above and some below. After placing the candles in the cave, you need to place them on the front side where the pillars are not clearly visible in the camera view. Duplicate the candles, placing some above the panels and some below. Next, go back to the Sketchfab website and download this 3D model named round chandelier. Read the full name to find it. Also download the links and modular chain from the Megascans. Then import both into Blender and join them together. You can hang them above in the scene. This will make the scene appear fuller, and as you know, the fuller it is, the more realistic it looks. Now go to Megascans and download this old metal port. After that, import it and place it on top of the small column in the back of the scene. Now we need fire. Where will we get fire? You can easily find a free VDB file for fire on the Embergen website. Download it. After downloading, import it into Blender and place it in that pot. You won't see any texture on it. For the texture, select it and go to the shader editor. Click on new and you will see these two nodes where it says temperature, write flames. Set the black body intensity value to 1. Then increase the temperature value to around 7000. Now you should start seeing the VDB texture. You can experiment with the values to achieve different results. Next we need a soldier with a weapon, which you can find on the Sketchfab website under the name SWAT Operator Remastered. Download it and upload it to make some of our animation. You can upload it here and apply any animation for free. After adding the animation, download it from here and import it into Blender. Additionally, you can add PNG fog planes to the scene, which you can find on the PNG Wing website. You can also animate these fog planes with location keyframes in front of the camera. Before rendering, the color management adjustments I made are to give the look a punchy feel and set the exposure value to 1. This will produce a much better highlighted result. Then render the scene. So you see how easy it was to create this scene, which you might have thought was difficult at first. But now hopefully you have followed along and created it. If you need any help, you can follow me on Instagram and DM me. You will find the link in the description. Please let me know in the comments how you liked the video. Also tell me what topic you would like for the next video. To see more amazing tutorials, subscribe to the channel. I'll see you in the next video. Until then, bye.